Hey everybody, it's Peter here with GoodyReader.com, and we have another video comparison for you guys. Amazon Kindle HD 8.9 and the Asus or Asus MeMO Pad Smart. 8.9 inches versus 10.1 inches. Let's start it off. Starting with the Amazon Kindle Fire HD 8.9, we have a 1920 by 1200 LCD capacitive touchscreen, 1.5 gigahertz dual core, 1 gig of RAM. It comes in various storage options, 16, 32, and 64 gigabyte for the LTE model, and it has about 11 hours of battery. A couple advantages of this particular device is that it is actually running 4 speakers, 2 in each side. It has Dolby digital sound built in, one of the only tablets to have that, and that it has 2 Wi-Fi receptors, a 2.4 gigahertz and a 5.0, so no matter where you are connecting to, you're going to have pretty good coverage, and 5.0 gigahertz is actually a very unoccupied Wi-Fi kind of signal, so there aren't a lot of whole devices eating it all up, so you're going to have a lot more speed with this on different Wi-Fi connectivities. On the bottom you have micro USB with a micro HDMI out, along with a status indicator light. It's kind of very flush, it's hard to see. Standby button / power button, volume up and down, 3.5mm headphone jack, nothing going on the top, nothing going on the side, and front facing camera along with a light sensor. The MeMO Pad, on the other hand, is a 10.1 inch 1280 by 800 LCD capacitive multi-touch running a Tegra 3 quad-core 1.2 gigahertz processor with 1 gig of RAM. Comes with 16 gigabytes internal and only has about 8.5 hours of battery. Not the biggest battery in here, and the quad-core processor does kind of weigh down on that. You have volume up and volume down on the side here, along with a 3.5mm headphone jack. Speaker on one side, speaker on the other side. Not a big fan of speakers facing flat on the back. It's not quite on the bind, so you're going to have a little bit of muffling if you were to lay it flat down. You have a camera on the back. You also have nothing on the bottom. You have a micro SD card slot on the side, along with a micro HDMI out and a micro USB. Front-facing camera and light sensor. And a standby button, along with power button on the top as well. We are a Goody Reader, so the first thing we're going to look at is the e-reading experience. And out of those, magazines, newspapers, books, we're going to start with books. On the Asus, what we're going to have to do is click on Apps, Amazon Kindle, and what we'll have to do on the Kindle is just click on Books because, well, this is one. So we'll click on Books, go down to the same book, Previous Engagement, and we'll open that up. So what we see here is these identical book, and we're on 2-page column on each. You can change it via the settings to change it to a 1-column view if you'd like, but for the sake of this, because we'll match them, 2 columns. Pressing and holding creates a highlight. You can box X amount of text. You can make highlights. Press and hold on a word, you'll get a definition along with notes. I know it's kind of hard to see because we have 2 very long screen devices end to end, so bear with us. So you save notes, make bookmarks, usual things you've seen on Amazon Kindles. You can go to the settings menu, make the text bigger or smaller, white, sepia or sepia, black for night reading, normal, wide margins, change the text style altogether, Helvetica, etc. Same with the Asus. Because you're running Kindle, you can go to the font change right there, change everything live, change the layout, 2 columns, single column, change the margins, line spacing, you want it really tight, or you can space it out a little bit more. Has the same night reading kind of modes. Those ones don't change live. And of course, brightness. Pressing and holding also creates pretty much the same experience. Notes, highlights, search and book, and you can see you have bookmarks as well. So nowadays, with tablets being dual core, quad core. In the past, when we have reviewed e-readers, we always say, oh wow, look at this page turn, it's really slow, look at this one. You don't really need to compare that anymore because they're usually lightning fast, and it's just something of little significance with tablets. So needless to say, they both turn pages very quickly. Magazines are great on tablets and even better on larger screen devices. It's one thing to read magazines on Zinio on a phone, but it's just so much different on a magazine because you're getting that full page experience. So you can see here we're on Zinio. We have the exact same app loaded on, the exact same magazine rather, loaded on both. It's an automotive magazine. You can see here pinching and zooming is very easy to do. I've noticed on the Amazon Kindle compared to the MeMo Pad, everything you do just takes a little bit longer. It's not quite as fluid as the MeMo Pad. Mind you, this is running a quad-core processor versus the dual-core on this. Just gonna leave it there for a second for you guys to look at the colors. They're a little bit different. You can see both of these are at the maximum brightness, by the way. We're not trying to make one darker than the other purposely, but you can almost tell that the whites of the sky, the blues, light blue, is a lot more, pops a little bit more, especially with the cherry red on the vehicle. You can see it's a little bit muted over here, a lot more browns. So just a little bit of a comparison there. And just in case you missed the beginning, 1280 by 800 on the MeMo Pad, whereas the Kindle Fire 8.9 is 1920 by 1200, so significantly larger resolution on a smaller screen. Ends up giving you a little bit of a better picture. If you do need to alter text, obviously, find that sweet spot. It becomes instantly readable. So a lot of the time people are worried about, you know, I can't see it, what do I do? Is this the tablet that's right for me? This is why we do these, to show you just, you know, pinching and zooming is kind of tablet 101, but a lot of people don't know things like that, so this is definitely effective. You can tell here that it's not quite as responsive when you're moving it around. It's not reading every fingerprint, every finger motion, whereas the MeMo Pad's just a lot more responsive overall. So this is the magazine experience on the Kindle versus the Asus MeMo Pad. For this particular segment, we have situated both these in portrait. Reason being, newspapers are formatted in portrait, they look better in portrait, they are in portrait. So you can see here it's the full newspaper experience. This is the National Post. You can see ads and all, so Rogers ads at the bottom. Full newspaper experience on both. They don't really look that much different. The only thing I would say is that with the tremendously larger resolution on the Kindle, you're getting a lot crisper of a picture, as you can tell between these two trucks here, compared to the MeMo Pad. It's a little bit softer, you can tell, whereas this is more crisp. You'll notice that these are, a lot of the articles are blue, so what you can do is actually click on those articles, and what it does is condense everything into a more ebook-esque feel. So you can see it's the exact same thing, so we'll just show you on the Kindle here. If you click on the more fonts, you actually get font size and font style. Nothing too wild, no margins, no line spacing, nothing like that. Very simplistic, but it is good that you can kind of dive in past the page view experience, where it's all kind of just columned, all jumbled together, and go into the article. So we'll show you the differences here. Shouldn't have chose that article now that I think about it, but it is what it is. You'll see here that looks like they kind of changed page speed the same. Nothing too different. It just looks like this is more fluid, quad core, dual core, so that does come into effect when you're changing large amounts of media on one page. So you can see here pinching and zooming works. A lot more smooth on the Asus. see there's lots of choppiness, whereas it's very fluid on this. So this is the newspaper experience. They have their ups and downs. High resolution, not as fluid when you're going to navigate around the page. Sometimes you end up changing pages. Not as good resolution on the Asus, but a lot more fluid when you're navigating around the newspaper page. Gaming is huge, especially on tablets. Tablets are very easy to get games. You go to your market, click, done, game is delivered to you. Even better on a bigger screen. Yes, 10 inches, 8.9, a lot more to be able to display on the screen, a little bit less, but then once again we have high resolution but a faster processor on the MeMO Pad. So I guess we could do the, yeah, you know what, I'm going to try these both at the same time. Please forgive me if I die, because this is going to be something. Alright, watch this. Alright. Yeah. Oh yeah, I won't be able to tilt. So, oh, yeah, I was looking at this one. Well, we'll, this game is just to show you that, you know, fully rendering video. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. Fully render. Oh no! All right, we'll do one at a time here. On the Asus, we see that there's no lagging whatsoever, and everything's rendering full time here. Nothing's pre-rendered. You see, it's a full 3D environment. I won't be able to turn, so I won't be able to gather coins. So if, you know, if anything happens, tell my parents I love them. I think I could jump over that too. Yeah, so needless to say, we have everything open as well on this tablet. So if I pause for a sec, good timing, and I press that, you'll see that everything we have even touched today is still open. We haven't closed them like that yet. So this game is still running flawlessly because, well, it's a quad-core processor and it's basically just a powerhouse, and it's great for games because, I mean, you know, it's just that is what it is. It's a great tablet for gaming because, and there's lots of screen real estate. On the Kindle, same kind of thing. It doesn't look any less fluid. This isn't a very demanding game either. It's very hard to find games that are on both these devices that really push Android to its limit. Reason being, Android doesn't have a whole lot of really graphic intense games, and this is an Amazon Kindle, remember, and this doesn't have Google Play on it, so it's hard to find things on Amazon Marketplace. I'm gonna die there. It's hard to find things on Amazon Marketplace that we can also find on Google Play, and that is really graphic intensive. But basically what we're just showing you is screen size real estate, the fact that they can both play fully rendering 3D games, and processing matters, but like we said, not so much for Android. And the fact that everything is open on both these tablets. We haven't killed any apps with Advanced Task Killer on this one. We haven't killed anything on this one, and everything's running smoothly. The bigger tablets get, usually the bigger the speakers get. Exhibit A, 8.9-inch Amazon Kindle Fire HD, 4 speakers. Stereo speakers on this guy, but they're no slouch either. So what we're going to do is just show some music real quick. We're going to click on Play Music. And whatever's on here by default, there's just some things on here that was preloaded, so we're going to go ahead and just click play here. That's pretty loud. That's pretty good. We're going to try the Amazon now. Everything is kind of laid out here because obviously this isn't a stock experience for Android. So we have everything kind of at the top here. We're going to click on Music. And let's click on this. Play this guy. Full blast. Not too bad either, not too bad. I think it's a little more clear on this, but it's a little louder on the Asus MeMO Pad. If you're thinking, why isn't it as loud as why isn't the Kindle Fire 8.9 as loud as the Kindle Fire 7-inch? We don't know. It seems that although they have the same hardware, they really down-tune their speakers. And what we're talking about is the Amazon Kindle 8.9, this particular device, has 4 speakers, same as the Amazon Kindle HD 7, but this one seems a lot quieter than that. The Amazon Kindle HD 7 fills the room with sound and would definitely have crippled the Asus's stereo speakers. However, in this particular test, they're pretty much on par, but I'd have to say the 4 speakers on this guy really takes the cake.
Okay, guys, on second thought, you think you'll be okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks trailers are always good because they have a lot of color, a lot of movement, and they're CG, so you can really tell the quality and how smooth everything is. So what you just saw there, I mean, you'll judge for yourself. I'm not going to go here and nitpick everything. Remember, higher resolution, bigger screen. So, you know, go with that. Really look at which one looks better for video, which pretty much wraps up the media aspect of this review. We're going to dive into a couple more things like the app ecosystem, marketplace, web browsing, and a few more things. Looking at both of these, you will very much tell that this isn't the conventional Android tablet, although everything is kind of gridded for the most part, like so, much like you'll find on a standard Android tablet. When you go to the home screen, you're left with stock Android experience where you can move around apps, and a not so stock Android experience where you can slide a carousel. Although it's really cool, you can't do things like live wallpapers, widgets, clocks, and so forth. So not the most conventional Android experience, along with how you actually get apps. On the Asus, you can go to Google Play, and from there, you'll see that this is where you get all your books, all your apps, all your magazines and movies. Everything's kind of split up in Amazon. If you do want apps or games, you got to click on apps and then click on store. Same with books, you'd want to click on store and so forth. So this is the opening screen of the Amazon App Store. This is where you have to get your apps from. You don't have a choice. There is no Google Play, there's no other marketplace pre-built on this device. You can sideload other marketplaces, sure. Same with on this, but on a stock-to-stock experience, this is what we're dealing with. They're both black themed. You'll see here that you have the featured stuff here. Move it left and right. This one is the central hub for everything, and right now we're looking at apps. So you'll see that if you click on apps, this is what you're left with here. You see when you slide left and right, it actually takes you to a different page. Top paid, top free, top grossing, and so forth. Whereas on the Kindle, I think it makes a little bit better use of the page because you actually see some featured stuff, but you can go ahead and swipe left and right. Same with all the apps here, featured, recommended for you, top paid, and so forth. Of course, you can search, same with on the Google Marketplace. They're not going to be different in that regard. Hundreds of thousands and thousands of applications, not so many applications. Amazon's great for books, but when it comes to apps, not only do they not have a tremendously large amount, you actually can't even download free ones unless you can't download anything unless you're in the US with a US credit card and a US billing address. Now, our sales partner, ShopeeReaders.com, has overcome this, and what they have done is offered Visa gift cards, which are legitimate Visa cards from Wells Fargo and Chase Bank down in the USA, and along with the purchase of a Visa gift card, you get a USA address as well. So you are then able to download free content and paid content on the Amazon Marketplace without having to sideload in applications all the time. So that's kind of a disadvantage in Amazon's corner. You can't get apps straight right off the device. There's no Google Play, and you have to do a lot of workaround in order to bypass geographical restrictions. On Android, the Google Play works anywhere. As long as your device is Google Play certified, it's going to work. So go ahead and click on something, sign into your Google account, boom, it's yours. So very different ways they deliver content. Google Play certified, and then this one is just purely Amazon's way of doing things. And as we said before, if you want to click on books and then go to store, you're actually left with a completely different looking app store, because this one is strictly just for books. So different the way they do things, indeed. One of the last things we're going to look at before we wrap up is web browsing experience. And along with this comes keyboards. Keyboard on this guy, Asus, along with the bar at the bottom, it's taking up a lot of the screen. That, in conjunction with the dedicated row of numbers, it takes up more than 50% of the screen, which shouldn't be the case on larger screen devices. I mean, they should use the screen real estate a little bit better. Whereas the Kindle just takes up this little bar at the bottom, which I think is great. But it is a matter of opinions, and if you guys have different opinions, then please comment on this video. They loaded pretty much the same. Asus is a little bit quicker to generate the images. Very graphic heavy home hub here we have. Look at these slideshows on the Asus, for example. Very fluid, very smooth. Now let's check out this one. Very choppy. Very choppy. We're running a much faster processor here than we are here, so that is a contributing factor. But in terms of scrolling up and down the page, pinching and zooming. Apologize for sniffing. Pinching and zooming. A lot more maneuverable on the Asus, along with a bigger screen to display more content on the Asus rather than the Kindle. So we're going to click I've clicked the Amazon first, and still the Asus loaded a little bit quicker. Although this is said to have some of the fastest Wi-Fi, we're on the same Wi-Fi right now, but it looks like the Asus is just loading a little bit quicker. You see the banner has loaded here, and it hasn't even, there we go, right there. So a little bit slower on the Amazon. And you can see scrolling while the articles generate. We're not really getting any, we're getting a little bit of boxing, and you see things aren't really loading. Let's see the Asus. It's pretty fluid. I think the whole thing pretty much loaded much quicker than the Amazon. Once again, pinching and zooming. I mean, the Amazon is slower than the Acer in terms of pinching and zooming and maneuverability, but I mean, it's not gonna lag and crash on you. That's the most important thing. I mean, we're here to nitpick which one's this and that, and you know, this does this 4 seconds later. But honestly, on just using it casually, you're not gonna say, oh, this Amazon, I'm gonna break it over my knee and throw it in the garbage. No, it's fine. It really is. But I mean, we're trying to not find a winner, just really show you the differences. And although it is a subtle difference that boxes appear when you start to scroll really fast and things start to really lag, that is something that goes into consideration when buying a tablet. So in wrapping up, overall, I mean, we have about $299 here, $299 to $359 here, depends on where you buy it. They're roughly the same price, whereas this Amazon you can't use outside the US comfortably. You can with workarounds like the Shopee Reader's credit card, or utilizing VPNs and DNS codes to access videos, which you can't even access through Amazon Instant Video. You'll have to use Netflix or other sources like YouTube, but here you can't even access any of those. You can do all that on the Asus because it is Google Play certified, and Google Play is international, whereas Amazon is majoritively US with small branches here and there, like Paperwhite's in Canada and a couple other places where they have Kindle Fires, but mostly it is US only. So in terms of content delivery, you're going to have a little bit more trouble with this guy. You'll have to sideload in things, which you can do. You can sideload apps, although when you do, they come a little bit pixelated, as you can see here. And you can also put in the Goody Reader app market, where you can get over 20,000 free applications without signing up or any obligations whatsoever, so you can always use that. Whereas on the Acer, once more, you click Google Play, everything's at your fingertips, click away. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to download it. And you can still sideload on this as well. So content delivery, I would say it's just better on the Asus. Resolution on the Kindle is significantly higher than the Asus, and it's a smaller screen, so everything you see is just going to be so crisp and so clear, and the colors are just going to pop. You can see that this is a application downloaded from Amazon, so it's nice and clear, whereas this is a bigger screen and smaller resolution, so a lot of things are just going to look a little bit softer and they won't pop as much quite as the Kindle does. In terms of processing speed, it really isn't a question. This does have quad-core Tegra 3. This is running dual-core, so I mean, it's half the speed, not exactly, but I mean, it's half the amount of cores, so it is a little bit slower. As we showed you with navigating on magazines and pinching and zooming, you're going to have a little bit of a delay on this, along with loading websites and all that. Lastly, books. I mean, there's millions of books on Amazon, whereas you can just download Amazon on there, so I mean, that's not really too much of a drawback either. All in all things considered, I mean, we're not trying to pick a winner necessarily, just basically showing you guys what your options are for big screen devices. But all in all, they're both Android. You're going to have a good time with both of these. The speakers on this are phenomenal. It's a really high quality, nice and, I wouldn't say heavy, but just a really tight, well-built tablet, whereas this is a little bit light, and it's a little bit too light, and the back kind of pushes in, and it's really thin plastic. So I'm not a fan of tablets that are tremendously light. On the same point, I'm not a fan of tablets that are really heavy. So, you know, I mean, it's just going to be something you're going to play videos and games and all that with. So it's going to be something you want to hold in your hand comfortably. So we've looked at videos, we've looked at books, we've looked at content distribution, we've looked at pretty much everything about these tablets. Please leave a comment. If I left anything out, I do apologize. There's so much to look at on tablets, and I know everyone says, hey, you didn't look at this, you didn't look at that. Well, that's good. Please comment, and please watch our videos, and please leave helpful suggestions that we can use to better deliver content to you guys in future videos. And you can watch full reviews on both of these tablets, along with different comparisons compared with the iPad and Microsoft Surface and so many others, on youtube.com/goodyreader. And for all the latest news, previews, interviews, event coverage, and apps, go to goodyreader.com. You will see everything there. And everyone, have a great day. Thank you for watching. For Goody Reader, this is Peter.